of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody to the 1 o'clock Monday, April 18th, 2022 meeting of the Southampton Town Board of Trustees. Start with a roll call.
Scott Horowitz, President.
Present.
William Pell, President. Ed Warner, Jr.
Here.
Ann Walker.
Here.
William Parrish.
Present.
We all are here, President.
All right, thank you there, Trustee Pell. Okay, just so the public is aware, our next work session is scheduled to be Monday, May 2nd, 2022, 9:30 a.m., and our regular meeting is scheduled to also be on May 2nd, but at 1 p.m. here at Town Hall. Nice to see everybody here today. I see we have a nice crowd. We do have 3 public hearings on for today, I believe. Yes, we do. I always appreciate when we do schedule a public hearing that folks do come out because it suits the purpose of why we advertise these things. It is helpful many times for the board to get a lot of good information from the people that live in the area and in the township. How are you, sir? So that the board could make good decisions. There are no decisions that are made on any of these public hearings, and we have been anxiously awaiting public input. That being said, in order for us to be as effective as we can be and as productive as we can be with these meetings, I'm going to lay out some ground rules. So we're going to do the public hearings one at a time. So if you want to speak on that public hearing, come up to the podium, sign in, state your name clearly for the record. We're going to give everybody 4 minutes. That way we keep things moving along. It's not going to be a back and forth question and answer because we're here to get the information just like you're all here to get the information. So that's the purpose. So if everyone could just try and be orderly and be polite, direct your comments to the board. We're going to record everything. If you have anything further, feel free to send anything in writing, because that's always helpful as well. And again, I appreciate everybody's participation in this process. Okay? We're good? All right. So that being said, public hearing number 1 is a notice of public hearing for 7 Bayberry Cove. And I just want to check with, before we go any further, Mr. McRedmond, we have authority to open all these public hearings today, correct?
We do.
All good. Okay. All right, so public hearing number 1, notice of public hearing for 7 Bayberry Cove Lane, Shinnecock Hills, permit application for replacement of bulkhead and shoreline protection project. This was adjourned for 2022 for today, and I would like to make a motion to open this public hearing.
I'll second that one, Scott.
Seconded by Trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so let's open the public hearing. Who would like to speak on this public hearing first? This is the 7 Bayberry Cove Lane public hearing. You want to speak first as the applicant, or you want the public?
I'll look it up to the trustees.
Why don't you come first?
Why don't you come and speak since you're the applicant?
Give
Why
a
don't you come up
presentation
first.
for the audience.
Brent, maybe put it that way, so the
People can see it, the
public
camera
can
can
see
see
it.
it.
I was hoping that you had an easel here, but there's not one.
James, do you have a copy of that so you can put it up?
What do you want me to put up, the plans?
Yeah, everything that I'm presenting today is in the files.
Okay.
Just pass these down.
Good afternoon. Brant Reiner from Nelson Pope and Voorhees on behalf of the applicant, 7 Bayberry LLC. We're here today to present once again to the trustees and the public a request to replace an existing bulkhead that protects a common driveway and a bridge. We are looking to replace approximately 185 linear feet of bulkhead utilizing untreated materials. The intention is to ensure stabilization of the shoreline so that there will be no future erosion from the materials behind the bulkhead. We are also looking to install approximately, I think I misquoted this before, approximately 8 rows of core log to stabilize and currently eroding section of a bulkhead return on it would be the east side of the bridge. And the project, again, is intended to ensure safe access to 3 properties while protecting the potential for future failure of this structure. The structure is currently in a state of function. There is no signs of deterioration, but my client and his neighbors have taken it upon themselves to look to the future and prevent any potential issues with this bulkhead at a later date. That is the crux of the application. It is intended to benefit the trustees as well as my client. And we're here today to listen to comments and answer questions as necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brent.
I'll leave this here in case.
Okay, okay, all right. Whoever would like to speak, if you could, as I stated.
Hey, James, can you switch it to the overhead shot? So people will recognize the property.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Jane Hunsinger. My husband Pete and I live at 2 Bayberry Cove Lane, and Mr. McRedmond had asked us to address the posting issue. I'm going to be reading from a letter from the homeowners in the area. Regarding posting notices of public hearings for permits on 6, 7, and 9 Bayberry Cove Lane, the 3 properties located on what is informally known as Roscoe Island, and which are accessed via a bridge that is located at the end of the long road. We believe it has been practiced for well over a decade that all public hearing notices for these 3 properties are placed at their mailboxes on the public Far Pond Road at the corner of Far Pond and Bayberry Cove Lane. However, for notice of the public hearing April 4th, the applicant posted on their property at the approach to the bridge, approximately 315 feet from the public road. It was posted on their private property sign, which is also hidden behind a row of bushes on the private road. Anyone in our community or any interested party traveling down Far Pond Road would not be aware of this public hearing posting. It is because of this that well over a decade ago, it was determined by both the trustees and the town, all postings for 6, 7, and 9 Bayberry Cove Lane must be located next to their mailboxes on Far Pond Road. The trustee code states, by requiring the applicant to erect a white sign or signs with black lettering measuring not less than 2 feet long and 1 foot wide, which shall be prominently displayed on the premises facing each public street on which the property abuts, giving notice of the date, time, and place where the public hearing will be held. The sign shall not be set back more than 10 feet from the street line and shall not be less than 2 or more than 6 feet above the grade at the street line. This sign was set back 315 feet from the street line, well over the maximum 10 feet described in the code. Mr. Warner stated at the April 4th hearing that the community was aware of the hearing because neighbors sent emails with photos of the sign to trustees. It was only when one adjacent homeowner received a letter 5 days prior to anyone becoming aware, that would have been us. The 10-day notice is required. It allows attendees time to arrange their work schedules, travel times, and other obligations to allow for attendance. Knowledge of the original application was only by accident while checking the trustees' agenda February 7th for anything about the Far Pond issue. Had we not accidentally seen it, we would have been completely unaware and just woken up one morning and the equipment and excavators would be at the bridge. We request the trustees and the town please take into consideration settings like this one with properties down private roads. The trustees should amend their official code for clarity to explicitly spell out the regulations for always posting on a public road so that this does not happen here or anywhere again. The 13 residents of Honey Pot Pond. And here I have a copy for.
Could you please submit that for the record? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Who's next?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Am I supposed to sign in?
Sign in and
Please.
state your name for the...
My name's Paul Sforza. So I'm at 48 Far Pond Road. And I guess, you know, you may hear the same thing from many of us. We're certainly not against the idea of them fixing the bridge, fixing what needs to be done, and I appreciate him saying that part of the idea is to stabilize it so there won't be any future erosion. I guess what kind of a lot of us have been talking about who live right next to the pond and see it every day is what kind of is not being addressed is the issue of the damage that's already been done to the pond previously, which, you know, I'm certainly not an expert, but erosion happens naturally, but obviously the bridge is contributing to that, otherwise the work wouldn't need to be done, and he's actually saying that there is currently an eroding section. So just one would assume that the bridge is part of the problem with the pond. And when I say problem, when I watched the video of a previous meeting, something was mentioned about 4 feet at low tide. All of us just laughed at that because, I mean, I was just looking at this today and yesterday, and at low pond, there's almost no water coming through. I mean, I'd be surprised. I didn't go over there. I'd be surprised if it was 4 inches depth. It is not 4 feet at low tide. It's not even, I mean, you can sight that from pretty far away without even having to be there. So if the bridge is at least part of the problem, and I say it's a problem because you can see at low tide at places within the pond, you're seeing mud now. We've had our property since '73, so I kind of grew up on this property and I'm used to seeing the pond. It's definitely not at full health, and if the bridge has contributed that, I guess what a lot of us are concerned about is not just that this work won't cause more problems or that it won't prevent more problems, but will there be a role of the applicants in contributing to a future dredge, which obviously is going to need to be done at some point. And I understand I'm kind of getting into this late because my parents have been the ones more involved in the past, but I think the history is important here. From what I understand, when there was a previous dredge, the owners of the Bayberry Cove LLC refused to pay for part or participate in part of the dredge and were against the idea of creating a sort of tax situation where everyone would contribute to dredging the pond. So we appreciate the effort to avoid future erosion, but I guess we're all concerned that if we're going to be the ones to try and deal with the problems that have already been taken place, at least partly because of the bridge, if the role of this board is to protect the waterway, why would the applicants be allowed to, once again, not contribute to that if indeed part of their concern is the health of the pond?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Darren Baggart, and I live on Far Pond Road 44. I want to thank you guys, first off, for allowing it to be a public hearing. It's really important. There are a lot of us that these are not our full-time homes, even though I've resided there for almost 20 years. And it's so important, so I appreciate you guys at least pressing on an issue like this that the community is so interested in, not just the residents of Far Pond, but so many residences that use Middle Pond and Shinnecock Bay all come in with their kayaks, their paddle boards. It's really a pond that the community likes to utilize. I know that the town and trustees are keenly aware of concerns regarding the pond. There are more than 15 homes that actually front the shoreline. The 3 homes on the island that many have referenced on Bayberry Cove Lane, they take up more than 50% of the shoreline of Honey Pot Pond. The representative from Nelson Pope was quoted at both the initial February work session with you all and also the last March meeting that the project is preemptive. I simply suggest and ask that this permit not be approved until either Nelson Pope or any other official or engineer look at the issue of the pond, because sadly, as Paul mentioned, our big issue is people have gone on record, including Trustee Ed Warner, that I know is very interested in preserving the wetlands, but he's gone on record numerous times saying that the bridge was silting in because of the failure of either the postings and or the bulkhead. So I just think everyone should be very sensitive before this permit is approved at all, that you put a pause on the permit and we all look at what's happening with the pond now and figure out whether it's something that the town should be involved in, whether everyone that abuts the pond should come up with a dredge to save the pond. But that's my one suggestion, is at this point, we just put a pause on the permit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot to write my name in.
Thanks.
Hey, James,
You bet.
zoom in on the bridge.
Okay.
Thanks.
One last thing, I'm sorry. Sorry, one last thing, because I did email the new town attorney, and he suggested just to mention on the signage issue. I think, James, that we'd submitted some photos.
Yes.
I'd actually like to submit just 2 quick photos that we had taken, just to show everyone that there's clearly a group of mailboxes that is on Far Pond Road. And I'll submit actually this photo as well. And from the mailboxes, I also took a picture of a view of the signage, which is on the private road that we rarely go down, have access to. You cannot see this sign. So I don't think it was purposefully hidden, in honesty. I just think that it was put in a position that maybe was not clearly acknowledged. So I don't think it's anyone's fault. I'm surprised that the hearing was opened, but I appreciate you guys keeping it open for us, just for clarity, because there's a lot of interested parties in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I submit these 2
Yeah,
photos?
we'll stamp them in for the record.
Stamp 'em in.
Perfect. Mailboxes and the view from the road.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next up.
Jill Schwartz, 66 Far Pond Road. Wrong glasses. The first 2 photos, all the way down, is the posting, and the second photo is the mailboxes on the public road where they normally would post. Okay. So the next photos, for not to spend time, but a very brief recap of history, is you see that photo and you see the sand behind it. Was the island. The water would come in from the bay on that side. What happened was that and you can see the next photo, that is 1995. And that is at the end, the southern end, my end, and that is my neighbor's boat, who could always come in and out under the bridge, and that was 1995. Somewhere soon after that, they started developing. That land was created when 150,000 cubic yards of dredge taken out of Middle Pond to create bulkhead and boats and boating for the Middle Pond homeowners was placed there. by a guy named Leo Roscoe. That's why it's called Roscoe's Island. In so doing, he stopped the flow of water from the bay, and then when he built the bridge and made the approaches, he narrowed the artery so there was less flow coming into Honey Pot Pond. And as Ed Warner Sr. told Bob Tesori, our neighbor, Ed will remember, he said, history will show Honey Pot Pond was raped, because everyone knew if you developed it, you got rid of the piping plovers, you changed the ecosystem, you choked off the pond, and the pond would start to have a lot of problems. Okay, go forward. The bridge was built. John Olson Sr., my next-door neighbor, was the original engineer. Built from timber bulkheading, and it was not designed for the weight of the construction trucks and other vehicles that started on it in the late 1990s. And sediment started coming in from rotting timber bulkheading, from all the heavy weight, and erosion was coming off the embankments. In 2008, the homeowner replaced the eastern, south and northeastern measurement bulkhead. But and significant sediment came in from that replacement. We were told that if sediment came in, they would take care of it and remediate. That never happened. In addition, there was significant erosion coming off the embankments. Once that happened, you can go to the next one. Once that happened, the pond basically was becoming anaerobic. We went from 6 to 8 feet, going back, to nothing. So it had to be dredged, because if it hadn't, we'd become an odoriferous mudflat and mosquito breeding ground. You can see that's a picture of the dredge, and the next one, that's a picture of the dredge. It was $86,000 to dredge. It took about, Ed, 2 years or so of work with the trustees. They got a permit from the DEC. They only requested, I guess, or got 350-foot channel going from Middle Pond into Far Pond, 14 feet wide, and it ended up being about 4 feet deep. $86,000. The homeowners on the island refused to pay in at all, even though they caused the problem. We on the mainland paid for it. All right, next picture. Okay, so once we and to go, and thank you, Brad, for everything you've explained. This has been great. I will say, though, that Mr. Reiner has said, and I'm really happy to hear it, that the homeowners on the island are nothing but great stewards of the pond and are going to do everything to protect the pond. I am a little nervous because as a victim, this has not been what has been the history. And we had to fix it, we had to pay for it, and that was their damage, so it makes us nervous. Okay, this picture is an erosion from the embankments. That continued. This picture is from 2014. For years, Ed and I were back and forth, and the neighbors spoke to Ed about the erosion problems on the embankments. Ed kept saying that he's speaking to the homeowners, nothing was done. Sediment kept coming in. We spent all that money to, dredge and keep the pond flushing and try to restore that, what was once a very vibrant ecosystem, and it was going in the wrong direction. Next picture. Okay, so that one, the top picture, let me see, my glasses. Okay, so the top picture was taken in 2016, I think. You see that's the northeastern wall. That was one of the bulkheads that was replaced. You see the vertical board on the bottom. Now go to the 2019 picture. Now you see, the horizontal, thanks. The horizontal. You see the horizontal board. That's how much erosion. It just kept coming. They refused to fix it. That sediment had to go somewhere, and it was going right back into the channel, and the pond was closing up again. And we can't, we are doing everything we can to try to keep the pond alive, but we can't keep fighting this. In the April 4th, Mr. Reiner stated that there's erosion on the southern wings. We know also on the eastern wing. Ed talked about that, and Mr. Reiner just talked about that. Okay. About 5 years ago, we met with Jay Schneiderman, John Bouvier, Marty Shea, and other town officials and attorney, and then I think towards the latter meetings with Ed also. And Jay proposed a taxing district to remediate the pond and restore it back to, you know, the thriving environmental health that it once was. And to have a continual maintenance plan in place. So we kept that pond vibrant, alive, brought, you know, life back into it. And it was going pretty good. So Robert Fox, the town had Robert Fox in 2018 do depth soundings, which I have here, and I'll talk about in a bit. But the depth sounding showed that at the pond, we were looking at anywhere from negative 0.01 to negative 0.07. And if we went a little bit, you know, west or east, we were in positive territory because we were only at dirt and sand this is at Meanland Water. So this was all done in preparation to create this taxing district. And we were doing pretty well until the homeowners on the island threatened to sue the town if we created this taxing district, which totally confounds me because I want to really believe that they want to help the pond. But why would they oppose a taxing district when we were finally coming up with a plan to take care of the pond? So, you know, it's frustrating. We keep getting to all these obstacles. All right, I don't know what's next. Then more erosion, and more erosion, not fixed. Okay, that's the buckling. So Ed stated in, I think, the February meeting that there was buckling of the bulkhead. That's been going on. That picture was taken in 2014. We've been back and forth on that, too. Ed said he knew about it. The homeowners have to fix it. Does that mean sediment's been coming in from that? I'm not an engineer. I don't know. But we do know that this has been going on. In terms of depth, Mr. Reiner said at the February 7th work session, it's about 4 feet deep at mean low water, 3.5 under the bridge. Not true. Come kayak, come paddleboard, you can put at high tide, you can put your paddle in and touch the ground. At low tide or at medium tide, you're not kayaking and you're not paddling. It's becoming a mud flat again. You can't get through the channel. Not happening. On the plans he submitted, it says negative 1.38 mean low water, not 4 feet. Now, this is beyond my math skills and my pay grade, but the DEC says that's actually negative 0.6, something to do with sea level, but you can ask them. I'm confused. The 2018 depth soundings, that word fraction, negative 0.1, negative 0.4, negative 0.7 at the bridge. And since 2018, we filled in more, not less. So, you know, I urge you guys to come down. I know Ed's down there. I know Scott's down there. Please, come down and look. And we know there's erosion, and we know maybe infiltration from the bulkhead. And what else? Okay. So I talked about just now about Ed, he's, as was stated, Ed has stated multiple times, and he's right. The approaches, the bulkheads and the bridge support failed, and we've had erosion from that. Significant sediment erosion and buildup in the pond. This is in the past trustee minutes. So it's recorded, and he stated it September 7th. So that's a buckling, and there may be another picture. No, okay. So this is the pond a couple of years ago. This is pond, and there should be more. This is a pond. There's the pond at the house, at the bridge.
Go back. Is that the dock where the boat was tied up to?
No, that is a defunct, that's Schiller's dock, that dock, and it's just old, decrepit, defunct. It can't be used. You can't have a boat there. Their house is basically abandoned. It's a little cottage right down Bayberry Cove. It's before you hit the approach. So it's an abandoned dock. And if the next picture, so you could, because you could see their house. The bridge is just to the left, that's 7 Bayberry Cove. And there may be another picture. Is there another one? Yeah, so there's the bridge. Okay, so what do we want? On glasses. We want a condition of the permit to be the responsibility of 7 Bayberry Cove to dredge the pond. We want them to take responsibility for future dredging needs. We want assurance of support if for a taxing district to be formed to protect Honey Pot Pond. We want discussion about what another agency suggested, you know which, the widening of the bridge span possibly, to increase the water flow into Honey Pot Pond instead of the very narrow artery created to build the bridge. And we would like a color rendering of the proposed new bulkhead so we can know what we'll be looking at. We want to work with the homeowners. We don't want to be adversarial. We have tried since 2008, we have tried to work with them. It's, I don't understand, Mr. McRedmond asked me, why do we have problems? Why would they not contribute to the dredge? Why would they not support the taxing district? What is the reason? I'd like to know. I don't know. Believe me, I've tried. In terms of the trustees, you guys are tasked with protecting the waters. We urge you, please, protect Honey Pot Pond. You need to ensure a dredge of the pond before a permit is approved. You will need to ensure there will be no more erosion off the embankments. I'm tired, 10 years of pointing this out. You need to create a plan to remediate and restore Honey Pot Pond, whether this comes from the homeowners, whether this comes from CPF, whatever it takes, we have to get this done. Until all of this, the permit should not be granted. We are not opposed to the permit. Putting the bulkhead in is a good idea, but we can't just be taken advantage of. We are victims, the pond is victim, and it's enough. And please, come down and see the pond and see what we're talking about so we don't just sound crazy. Okay, that's me.
Finished?
Whoops, I'm finished.
Finished, thank
I'm
you.
going to give you pictures. I'm going to write my address,
Thank you. Do you want to put your,
7 Bayberry Cove.
in your speech in?
It's bullet points.
Well, whatever, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
We've got it on the recording, so it's up to you.
You can stamp it in. It's good to have.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
So much.
Over here.
Yeah.
You can give it to me.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jill, do you want these back? Do you want me to write these and send them? You sure?
Thanks.
My name is Pete Hunsinger. We live at 2 Bayberry Cove. Jane spoke earlier. I just signed her in. I'm also here representing Anne Marie Schiller a little bit. She lives at 4 Bayberry Cove. Her husband passed away a little while ago. She's the cottage where you asked about the dock, but she is part of our consortium in a lot of ways. I would just like to say we're thrilled that the bridge will be rebuilt. That's important. I also echo what everybody else has said. First of all, we have to take care of Honey Pot Pond, because what has been going on, the history of prior decisions has really damaged the pond, and we want to do what is right. You can tell we're committed by how involved we are in this, and to the tune of $86,000 on the prior dredging. It's important for not only the residents who have border on Honey Pot Pond, but all the people that come there to enjoy it. It's a great little feature to be able to paddle under the bridge, explore there. There's always all kinds of great turns and swans and geese and wildlife there throughout. We know the bridge is damaged when we're home, or when we're there in the summer. There's constant heavy traffic, truck traffic going over the bridge. And you can hear the loose boards of the bridge banging on the supports. You can almost feel it. but that has to be like a pile driver effect that is causing a lot of this erosion, and it has been that way for a long time, which is why we feel strongly that the pond needs to be taken care of, to remade it, to find a solution so it can go back to what it was. Our neighbors, Jane, my wife, even remembers jumping off that bridge into 8 or 10 feet of water a long time ago. So there's no question what has happened over time. We really feel that this decision should be postponed until we can figure out the future of Honey Pot Pond in a positive way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
My name is Bill Safarik. I live at 30 Far Pond Road, and I just want to say that basically I've been coming out here since 1960. My dad used to rent one of those bungalows. He eventually bought the bungalow and made it an all-year-round house, and that's where he retired. I inherited the house. Anyhow, I was jumping off that bridge with Jane at when we were 10 years old or whatever, and we had about 10 feet of water. But what I wanted to get the point across was that that used to be dredged. I don't know who dredged it, but it used to be dredged in the 60s because we rented a little boat with a kicker on it to go fishing, and the only way we could get in is through where they dredged and right in front of the first bungalow. That's how you had to get the boat in at low tide or whatever. So my point was that this was dredged. Jill told me that they didn't think that it was ever dredged before. I don't know who dredged it. I don't know if it was Suffolk County or whatever, but I know as a little boy it was dredged, and we had water there. And of course, once they dredge, you get more water into that Honey Pot Pond. So basically, that's all I wanted to say, and I appreciate whatever you guys can do, and I would like the bridge also fixed. I mean, I know one of the guys on the island. He seems like a real nice guy. So I think maybe we can all work together and have both problems resolved. All right? That's all I got to say. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles Schwartz, 66 Far Pond Road. I'll be pretty quick. I think what we're looking at is actually pretty simple. The plan that is right here, it's actually reasonable, and it's actually refreshing, by the way, because the last time you guys did approve this bridge, you didn't have engineering designs. You had handwritten drawings. There was no engineering stamp on it. There was a lot of stuff that didn't make a heck of a lot of sense. Here we've got a real engineering company with real plans proposing real work. It's refreshing. Contrary to Mr. Reiner's contention that about the concern that the homeowners have, history just says otherwise, guys. It's just not the case. It's been discussed. Ed certainly knows it. He's been there. When we did that last dredge, the dredging company was not permitted to put a truck on that bridge in order to work. And in fact, the homeowners put people in their house to watch, and they were calling them. It was a very difficult, very contentious kind of thing, and it didn't make a lot of sense. Next, there's no question that the bridge is the cause of the siltification in Honey Pot Pond. It's been stated numerous times this meeting, you can see it, you see that erosion, which has been going on since the last job was done back in 2008 or 2009 and never got fixed. But also, you know, one thing that's never really talked very much about, though Jill did mention it, that I guess the DEC was talking about this, is that bridge is like a nozzle. And the velocity of water through that bridge, because of the way things are designed, just increases the flow into the honeypot pond. Now, I don't know how you resolve that. I don't know the solution to that, but certainly it's something to look at. So what needs to be done? I think the discussions that we've been having make a ton of sense. There has to be dredging as part of this permit. If we're going to let these guys do this work, they have to have dredging as part of their permit requirements. But also, and this is something I was really surprised that I didn't hear anything about, because it is a requirement of Town Code Chapter 138-16.4, is that there has to be a maintenance plan developed for this whole area. That's supposed to be there. And the last thing that I just want to point out is we have a lot of examples of these homeowners saying they're going to do something, like repairing the erosion. It's been reported to Ed for years and years and years, and it never got done. And one of the reasons why they said they didn't have the money, they had the money to put in a new dock, but they didn't have the money to put in erosion control. I personally believe that there needs to be a bond set, that there's a bonding, the money is there in place for the dredge to be done as part of this permitting process. So, thank you very much. Again, it's 138-16 for erosion protection structures and artificial beach nourishment in the town code. Talks about a maintenance plan requirement and the allowance for bonding. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Anybody else on this public hearing? 7 Bayberry Cove. Grant, you want to address, since that's it, you want to give us a summary?
Thank you for that opportunity. Yes, I would. So I appreciate all the public's comments. I understand their concerns. Again, as an environmentalist myself, I sort of echo what they are saying, and that was the importance of me leading my clients to understand that there is an importance to preparing this structure before there is potential for failure. So I want to first talk about the public noticing. We believe that we are in compliance with the trustees' noticing requirements. I think we talked about that at last hearing. Whether or not the trustees need to change those noticing requirements in the future, that's not for me to say, but I do believe that we did put the sign on the premises as instructed by the trustees' regulations. With regards to reference to Mr. Schwartz's reference to 138 code provisions, I believe that is a coastal erosion management permit criteria. That is not the purview of this board. That is in fact another board separate from this board's purview. While I do not disagree with what his comments were directed to, we do intend on maintaining the site in compliance with best management practices for constructions of bulkheads. I was also influential in my client's decision to do this work by going full steam ahead with a fully engineered plan with proper engineering oversight throughout construction to assure that, one, the bulkhead is constructed with as much integrity and longevity as possible, and two, to also ensure that the best management practices are maintained to prevent any siltation from leaving the site during construction. And as I believe I walked with the engineer, walked the trustees through the methodology, which would be to take the existing bulkhead out in small sections and replace it in place, or replace the bulkhead simply by driving the sheathing behind the existing bulkhead to, once again, provide as much sureties to preventing erosion as practically possible. Those are my comments. Again, this is a replacement of an existing structure. We would be agreeable to a reclamation dredging, of course, if there were to be any siltation that is deposited as a result of this project in particular. We can do that by certain means, using hydrographic surveying to demonstrate the benthic soundings that are there right now, and then doing that post-construction as well, if that would help to give the trustees some kind of comfort to know that we are in fact trying to be good stewards here. I think that that is something that seems realistic. Again, that's a reclamation dredging project as a condition of an approval for this project, because that's something the trustees is known to do. It would not be outside of the parameters of a trustee approval that I've seen in the past. Asking my clients to dredge a pond in its entirety due to siltation from unknown sources seems unrealistic to me. But again, I go back to the reclamation dredging aspect is something that I think is realistic. I asked the trustees to consider urgency, not that this bulkhead is failing, but just to understand that it could fail, and we're trying to be preemptive. So those are my comments. I'm here to answer any questions that the board has for me. Other than that, I just ask that you take all of the facts into consideration and understand that we're replacing an existing structure.
I have a couple of questions for you. If the board seems fit, I would like to keep this open for another meeting. I'd like to have you go back to your clients and see what they can do to remedy some of these problems, what the people have spoken about dredging, maintenance, a taxing district for the pond there. I would like to see what they say about their comments.
Okay.
I think that would settle, these people's thoughts, our thoughts, and the future of the pond.
Okay. Today was the first time hearing about the
I know,
taxing
that's
district.
why we're giving you, that's why I want to keep it open.
Right,
I'm not jumping, asking for it to be done in 20 minutes, maybe 40 minutes.
You have another question?
That's it.
That's it. I think it's appropriate that this does remain open. I think that there was a lot of information that was given to the board today that has to be factored into the decision-making process. I feel this public hearing needs to stay open so that this board can further deliberate on what actually is going on here. And I think, more to follow at the next public hearing.
Yes.
I think that's what we need to do.
If you can come back and answer these questions for us.
So
Just for clarity, there were a lot of questions thrown out about the history of the siltation on the pond. That's a fairly complex question to answer.
Yes, do your best you can do. That's all, only thing I'm asking, do the best.
Okay.
These people try to do the best to protect the pond. We try to do the best too.
Okay.
And ask your client to do the same thing.
We will put our best foot forward.
That's all we ask.
I would say we need to adjourn this to the May 2nd meeting and continue.
Would that give
on.
you enough time?
Again, we'll put our best foot forward if
Will
we
you-
file.
you can do it.
Will you, I mean, I know there was some concerns about your engineer or whatever coming.
Yeah, he was unable to make
He was
it.
able, will your engineer be able to come on May 2nd?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to adjourn this to May 2nd.
Do you have any questions?
Second by trustee Welker. Oh, you got something
Yeah,
more
I
you
would
want to?
love- The project that the community reference, which they paid for $86,000, was about just shy of about 1,000 cubic yards of material that was taken out of the pond to benefit the circulation. It was the first permit the DEC had given as far as an environmental project and dredging like that. So I felt very proud of our board getting it for the community. And it did benefit the pond. It did increase the circulation of water. The grasses around there have grown remarkably well. But at the same point, by that dredging, there was some extra erosion that was caused by that dredging because it dropped the level of the channel down and it pulled some of the material in. So they're asking for more dredging. So it's something that when the future comes along, it's something that has to be thought about, changing the dynamics of the flow of water, increasing the depth, and how it's going to incur more erosion. So that's something that, moving forward may be a conversation, and we're going to ask your, to reach out to the people on the island to have a conversation with them to see what their thoughts are and if they're willing to contribute to this whole project. Because the last project, they solely benefited from the material being put in front of their houses out there. So, you know, I'm just saying that the community did pay for it, and the three property owners of the island did benefit from it. Just want to make that very clear.
That's a very good point. It will be taken into consideration in my discussions with the three property owners on the island. To that point, one of the public comments had really caught me off guard. I did not know this, that there is a history of this pond having been dredged, it sounds like back into the 60s and 70s. So for claims to be made that the silting in of the pond
Go back to 62.
and whatever dredging has occurred in the recent future is all a product of that bridge or any erosion to do with that, I may just be wanting to remind the trustees that there is a longer history of dredging in this pond.
There's no bridge in
And
62.
I don't know where that goes. You know, like I said, to answer the question that Mr. Pell had offered is a very complex one.
I did do the research on this bridge and the dredging, and the bridge was permitted by the trustees. There was no reference of any dredging that was allowed at that time that bridge was placed there. So our office, as much research as I've done on this area, which I think is pretty extensive, I have not found anything that referenced dredging on or around that bridge.
Right.
That was my understanding
Right,
too,
well,
so that's why I was.
Let's just go fast forward here for a
Yep.
second, and then trustee Parish has a question. But, you know, this is a public hearing, obviously, to hear concerns from the public. You're gonna take all this back that you're hearing back to your clients. You know, everybody wants to be good stewards. I hear some of the neighbors asking for collaboration, people working together in the good spirit of the environment and their own communities, and that's great. Trustee Parish, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, after listening to the neighbors, do you dispute that the bridge, the initial construction of the bridge, had something to do with the loss of the depth in the pond?
I do not. I have no way of saying one way or the other. That's why I was going back to Trustee Petal's comment that the silting in of that pond is a complex answer or question to solve. I mean, it's a problem that might go beyond the bridge. I don't know. And so to answer that in 2 weeks, I think is a pretty heavy lift. But again, we're going to give it a try. And again, I don't know that I was asking for the trustees to consider whether or not the existing bridge and its bulkheading are having an impact on the pond. I was simply asking for the trustees to allow us to replace the bulkheading that flanks the bridge. The bridge stands alone, from my understanding. It's an engineering issue. The bridge stands alone. The bulkheading that I'm asking to replace is actually flanking the common driveway to the west of the bridge. And I do not know the history as to how that got in its current location, but I do understand that there were trustee review and approval for it, and I'm just asking the trustees to allow me to replace it before it starts to fail.
I'm still looking for more of a historical analysis as to what happened and why this happened. Because it certainly hasn't been remedied in the years since this bridge has been constructed. And I don't want history to repeat itself if it goes forward.
Okay?
We all got homework to do here.
Yeah. I have a lot.
We have a lot of homework to do here, okay?
But I have faith in you.
I want to thank the public for coming out, and I want to thank everybody for being so concise and so orderly. I do have a motion to adjourn this till May 2nd. I got a second from, who wants the second?
I'll second it.
Trustee Warner, are we all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll reconvene this on May 2nd. Hopefully, we'll have more
Okay,
information.
right.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you, everyone.
professional presentation. Okay,
Can I just clarify one thing?
well,
The hearing is
It's over.
closed as far as that.
you could come back on May 2nd, okay? Okay, so the next public hearing we have is a notice of public hearing for a license agreement between the trustees and the Barton and Gray Mariners Club. I'd like to make a motion to open a public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna recuse myself because I live across the street from one of the applications.
Okay, so you're excused and recused.
Yes, I'm gonna go have lunch.
Why don't you get us a pizza?
To go?
Yeah, bring it here. Okay. Is anybody here that's representing this company?
Myself.
Okay, why don't you come on up?
Hello, my name is Fraser Christie. I'm here on behalf of Barton and Gray Mariners Club. As mentioned, we're seeking permits in order to drop off and pick up members from a number of town-managed docks and boat ramps, specifically West Neck Road, Corwith Park, Conscience Point, and Todd Point Road. We are hoping to add these to a roster of locations that we are able to pick up our members from in order to take them out for day cruising, any sort of trips with our captained boats for the area. We have 2 boats dedicated to this region. That would be up to 18 people, and these would be additional areas for us to serve our members.
All right.
Awesome.
You can
Thanks.
step down if there's
Appreciate
nothing further. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on this application? Come on up. Procedure, as you are aware, sign in, state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. Haven't been here in a while. My name is Wayne Bruin. I'm an attorney, Southampton. However, I'm here on behalf of my own personal interests and my wife's interests. My wife, Cheryl, is with us today. We reside at 356 West Neck Road, which is approximately 400 or 500 feet from the West Neck boat ramp and dock. And we have certainly a number of questions that haven't been answered by the presentation today or anything I've seen in the application that would suggest that the commercialization of the West Neck dock and ramp should occur. First of all, by your regulations, I understand the commercial activity of the use of the town trustee boat ramp or dock is not permitted unless you're a bayman. So I think, first of all, you should look carefully at your regulations and see how this activity is allowed, or before you make an exception for that type of commercial activity. But most importantly, I looked at the 4 suggested sites. One of them I can't envision at all, where Corwith Park, and whether that's near a water body that would even allow embarkation of people to get on a boat. So I'm not sure this company, which I understand from the public records is based in New Hampshire, is aware of the town and its facilities and what they're intending to use or how do they intend to use it. Most importantly, in our neighborhood, if you're familiar with the West Neck Town ramp and dock, it's a facility, it's very tight, it's a road ending. It's not a site which is a lot of room. I would make a distinction between this and Conscience Point, which is a very large town facility, and there is some separation where docking occurs and where the boat ramp is. Here, we're talking about less than a 50-foot right-of-way, but when you actually get to the paving on West Neck Road, it's very narrow. And abutting the end of West Neck Road are several dwellings, all of which have a driveway, but barely enough room to fit 1 or 2 cars, and so there is often on-street parking occurring for those residences. Most importantly is, as you are aware, this ramp is used for people loading their boats into the water, and if you have a trustee boat ramp, you're allowed to park there. Once there's parking occurring, it is a very tight and almost, in some cases, unsafe situation, particularly during the summer times. So not only do you have cars parking with the adjacent residences, but now you have people that are parking with their trailers, which is appropriate, and it occurs. But when you're trying to maneuver a boat, and I have a small 15-foot Boston whaler, which I keep in my driveway, and I use and put into the water, and I often have to back up. The part of maneuvering here is vehicles have to come down West Neck Circle, turn around and back up a good 200 or 300 feet with all this narrow adjoining parking. And there is no other parking. So what you're talking about, and we don't understand, there was nothing said about how to accommodate this company bringing advertising and bringing people in to the site to park. Where are they going to park? There is no parking. If you're going to park along the side of the street, it's going to inhibit and create unsafe situations with the loading on boats. So for those reasons, Cheryl and I are very much opposed to this project right now, and the issuance of a license or a waiver to allow the loading and non-loading at this West Neck site. And I would also question the Corwith site. But I do think the other sites, particularly the Conscious Point, might be more appropriate, and because of that, there are alternatives. It does lead to the same portion of the bay, so I don't see any other reason. And I'm sure there's other commercial facilities. I understand in their advertisement, they advertise that Prime Marina, the former Jackson's Marina, is their connection, their site, so I don't see why people can't go to a known site. That was the other part, confusion. This occurred, I witnessed it twice last summer. And during that time, there was confusion about the people coming and how do they get there, even if they took an Uber. Put it in there, try to find West Neck Dock and try to find where that is. I know there were people going to the nearby Bullhead Yacht Club, confused that that's where they were supposed to go. And I know the Yacht Club wasn't pleased with that as well. So there are objections, and we would hope you take those into consideration, taking your action.
Thank you for coming down.
Wayne.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Hi, my name is Rich Poveromo. I've lived on West Neck Circle for a little over 20 years now. I think everybody who's going to get up and speak is going to say about the same thing. So I just wanted to jump up here. In case you haven't seen, or in case you don't know, this is what our road looks like. The dock is at the end. This portion of the road is just over 20 feet wide. If cars park along there, it makes it impossible for a boat trailer to pass. Barton and Gray conducted sunset cruises from this town dock last summer, okay? I walked the dogs at about the same time as their sunset cruise left the dock, so I saw it 3 or 4 times. Okay, saw them leaving. It's a large Hinckley, blocks the boat ramp on one side and the floating dock that you have installed for the Friendship sloop on the other side. Okay, so access to either the floating dock or the boat ramp is impeded by this 40-foot Hinckley. In addition to that, you've recently given permission, and a dock has been constructed by the homeowner immediately adjacent to the town ramp, which narrows that channel even further. So anybody putting into that water, okay, doesn't have the same maneuverability that they used to have. And it would be, again, impeded. Wouldn't be able to go this way because of the boat, wouldn't be able to go that way because of the town dock. Last year, just 2 things that I guess I wanted to say. One, they talked about a half hour in and out. Personally, I witnessed that boat pull in last summer, idle at the end of the dock for more than a half hour before the first people started to arrive. Okay, the people came in their own cars. On one occasion, it was 2 cars, 2 families, husband and wife, kids. So 4 adults, 6 or 7 kids. that was a pretty quick embarkation. The second time I noticed, or next time I saw them, it was 5 couples in 5 cars, okay? And it took them probably another 20 to 30 minutes to get on the boat, get settled, and everything else. So you're not talking a half hour, you're talking more an hour to leave. And then you're talking about them coming back and getting off the boat. I can envision that being a little bit quicker than leaving, but you're coming back at night, you've been on the boat, you've been drinking, you're gonna get off the boat. It's not a quiet process. You have homes on both sides of that road where people have to get up for work, where kids are sleeping, okay? And it's just not what a residential area, it's not something that should be considered for a residential area, and certainly not one as quiet as ours. I would also make a case that it's not just the homeowners who've shown up here that make use of this dock. Pardon me, I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous.
But
doing fine.
people come from all over. At any given time, you come down to that dock during the summer, and there are people fishing, there are kids swimming. I mean, it's a recreational resource, not just for the circle, but for the entire community. And using it for commercial operation just seems, that would seem to me to be defeating the entire purpose of what you guys are supposed to be doing. If you give them permission, okay, from May 28th to October 15th, I'm going to round it out, 140 days. So you're giving them permission at our dock alone to make 140 round trips with a 40-foot Hinckley with large engines, okay? Our neighbor had a Hinckley for years, and he had 500 horsepower worth of engine on the back of that boat. It creates a mess for the water is what it does create. If you gave them permission for the 4 docks, you're talking about in and out 1,100 trips. I mean, the numbers just seem, to be crazy. I mean, even when you just consider 280 back and forth, 280 dockings at our little dock, seems ridiculous. When you push it to 1,100, it's out of control. Wayne mentioned Conscience Point. Yes, you have a fuel dock. You have public facilities. You have a commercial dock. You already have a marina there in Strong's Marina. You have 2 large parking lots, not just the town facility that's paved. You have the dirt lot on the other side. That seems to be a much more appropriate place to grant, one spot. And that's really all I have to say.
Thank you.
I kind of stretched it, but.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, trustees.
Afternoon.
I'm going to read off my phone if you guys don't mind. Good afternoon, trustees. My name is Christopher Luke. I reside at 366 and 368 West Neck Road. I'm a lifelong resident of Southampton and West Neck Road area for the past 40 years. These are both waterfront properties and 2 of the closest properties to the West Neck dock in that area. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on the matter at hand today, and I just want to thank the trustees as well for their hard work they do in the community in helping preserve our beaches and bodies of water. That being said, while I'm all for businesses being able to earn a living without too much bureaucracy, red tape, and government intrusion on their private businesses, in this matter I do have some objections and concerns for the West Neck dock location and its residents. While Barton and Gray is applying for this use permit before you today, it seems to me they have been operating at the very least last year without a permit. I know this because I recognize their vessels from their website and even had a brief conversation with the captains, and that gives me at least a little insight on what some of the issues for the residents of West Neck Dock community might be. First and foremost is the lack of parking on West Neck. It has become very busy in this location over the years, like everywhere in the Hamptons, especially since COVID started, and especially the weekends when I assume the majority of these charters would be taking place, as it seemed to be when they were operating last season. Bowfield Marina is launching boats 3 and 4 times per day, and most of the time leaving their trucks and trailers by the launch ramp while running their vessels, sometimes 2 sets of trucks and trailers at a time. You have private residents launching their boats and jet skis, You have private residents launching their boats and jet skis, leaving trucks and trailers for the day. You have commercial fishermen launching boats and leaving their trucks and trailers for the day. You have kayakers, paddleboarders. You have people fishing the dock in recent years 3 to 4 times a week with multiple cars. You have just regular old residents coming to visit the dock, take pictures, and just general sightseeing. This makes for a very high volume of traffic at the town dock. There is no parking lot down there. Vehicles park on the side of the road. On some days, I've seen vehicles and trailers parked 300 to 500 feet up the road, and this is just completely a residential area, sometimes blocking some residents' driveways. I have 2 small children with a third on the way. Sometimes these cars come flying down so fast that it's very concerning and nerve-wracking as a parent of those young boys. There just isn't enough parking to support the volume of cars that use the West Neck dock and ramp, and adding an additional burden to the already limited parking would exacerbate the problem even more. On a busy day when vehicles and trailers are parked on both sides of the roads, it's questionable if a truck and trailer can even navigate between the rows of cars to launch a boat safely and without the potential to damage other vehicles and their own. And a lot of the time, people launching their boats are what I call weekend warriors, and their skill in maneuvering a truck and trailer is questionable at best. I've already had my vehicle hit once in this circumstance, and I've had the power lines and service ripped off my house from larger boats not aware of the height of the power lines. I also mentioned that there could also potentially be new construction going on at 374 West Neck Road, which is where that new dock has been put in. I hate to even think what the parking will look like down there once that construction commences. For these reasons, it is my belief that Conscious Point and Town Point areas are much better suited for this endeavor, as they both have real parking lots that could support a higher volume of vehicles. I'm not too familiar with the Watermill location, so I can't speak to the parking situation there. I also want to mention that I believe there to be 1 or 2 other charter businesses running these same type of charters from the West Neck dock location. Whether they have permitting or not, I do not know. Another problem is the volume of trash this creates. There is only 1 trash receptacle down there, and most of the time it's overflowing with garbage from all the high usage and traffic, and I constantly find myself picking up garbage on my own property and the road because of this. To say these charter companies' customers would mostly be using a car service, it just simply isn't true. I witnessed it last year. Hardly ever or rarely was there a drop-off or pickup by a car service. They always had 1 or 2 cars parked down there all day and sometimes more. And saying Barton and Gray would have to use a car service for this location would be unenforceable. How could you possibly distinguish their customers' vehicles from any other vehicles that might be there on any given day? I would also like to mention that I am a member at Bullhead Yacht Club, a private marina, and I believe the club had at least 1 instance where there was a party bus with a large group of charter pickup down at West Neck dock location. The customers thought the Bullhead was the pickup point for their charter, which makes sense because it's a marina, and people not familiar with the area could easily think that this private club would obviously be their charter, where their charter would be departing from. This creates a liability issue for Bullhead if this were to happen again and these charter customers were walking the docks and grounds of Bullhead's private marina. I'm curious why can't Barton and Gray can't do pickup and drop off from where their vessels are docked. So again, for all these reasons, and probably some I'm not thinking of, the West Neck location just doesn't make sense for this endeavor by Barton and Gray. The other locations seem to make more sense to me for the simple fact they have parking lots, and my guess is less usage and volume in general. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up. This guy came prepared.
I took pictures of actually I should spread that first.
Actually, someone had a photograph earlier.
This is just this weekend, which was not a busy weekend. And you can flip through. You gotta go on the path. These photos. Let's see. Of boats trying to back down the ramps. as it is.
Maybe you could send
Oh.
those to
Thank you.
Jay Duryea.
Actually,
Oh, okay.
Then he could show them, I mean,
You're gonna
it'll
have to
take
go
a
to the
minute
po-
to do that.
Yeah, you're gonna have
You
to
gotta
go
go
to
to the podium.
Go to the podium to
You
be.
can face that towards us if you want. Why don't you do that? Then the camera can pick it up too.
Oh, can,
Okay?
yeah.
All right? Not there, but inside. They're filming from the other room.
We have the launch ramp up there.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
So in any case, I think, Chris, I'm John Stewart. I live right across the street from the dock. And parking has been everybody's major concern. Also, noise at night. They want to be coming back at 10 o'clock at night from a party boat. And they did this last year, too. In fact, they already have West Neck listed on their site from last year, which is comical, and it wasn't even granted permission yet. But they would come down making noise, and you'd always wake up if you had an early day the next day. The parking situation, I also had my car hit, not by them, but by somebody else. And had to go through insurance to have that fixed. When they came back, there would always be trash overflowing all over the place at the receptacle, and then the raccoons would get it, and then we'd have trash all over the dock. Let me see some of my notes here. I agree that you need a dock with a parking lot like Conscious Point, but I'm also wondering why they don't use commercial docks. Is it cheaper? Is it just the expense of using a town dock for their personal use and not a commercial dock? Because they dock their boat somewhere. We don't have bathrooms or any other facilities down there. Conscious Point would have that. There's no space for a larger dumpster. Conscience Point has a larger dumpster. And just basically, it's a maze backing down to the launch. And the idea of using Ubers would also be not be any solution at all. Number one, you can't enforce it. And number two, we substitute private cars with a row of Ubers waiting to pick people up. And what are they doing? They're sitting there idling, making even more noise than the private cars. So it's just the wrong place for trying to do a commercial venture like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next? You sign in, sir? Did you sign in? Uh-oh. Almost got away. Is that your truck?
My truck's, son's using it today.
Hope it's not my truck.
We got a good battery.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors. I'm Bill Winkler. I'm here with my wife, Judith Winkler. We live at 360 West Neck Road. And from the historical perspective, we're probably the longest living family in the West Neck area. My property's been in the family for close to 100 years, and 5 generations of our family has swam off the dock, has fished off the dock, has kayaked off the dock, and and it's we've all lived there, myself and my family and my neighbors. We're all very close knit. We live there because it's a quiet residential neighborhood. It's becoming less and less quiet, as a number of folks have said, but it's just the more that we allow these kind of things to happen, the less and less it is a desirable area to live. And in my mind, Southampton is a place that, is a destination for people, whether they're full-time residents or part-time residents. It's a destination for people who are looking for the peace and quiet and of some of the neighborhoods in the area. I can only reiterate everything that my neighbors have said about parking and safety, and I'm concerned also about the we live right at the front of Bullhead Yacht Club. My dad was a member of Bullhead Yacht Club. My wife is currently a member of Bullhead Yacht Club, and her dad was a founder of Bullhead Yacht Club. So she's a lifelong resident. I can only say, can say basically the same things that everybody else have said. We're all concerned about safety. In addition to the things that others have mentioned, there's no lighting on this dock. So when you come in at 10 o'clock at night, there is no lighting. There are oftentimes people that are swimming out in Bullhead Bay, as well as kayaking or paddle boarding. And it's just another increase in the level of traffic for a totally recreational area. So I'm opposed to this as well as most of my neighbors. I also have a letter from my sister, who's a resident at 5 West Neck Road. I have not looked at it, but I just
Okay, you can turn it in.
pass it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Winkler.
You signed in, sir?
I didn't.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ginny Poveromo. I live at 7 West Neck Circle. And I'm going to sound like my neighbors. West Neck Circle, West Neck Road dock is a residential neighborhood. It's about 20 houses. Most of them originally started as bungalows, so they're relatively small houses in Southampton terms. We're at the end of a dead end. If you go too far, you're in Bullhead Bay. And it really is, like Bill said, it's a neighborhood where we all know one another, we care for one another. It's a working community. We live here, we work here, we pay our taxes here, and we voted for you guys. And we are hoping that you guys will look out for our interests and for Bullhead. It really is a neighborhood where we take care of it ourselves. Bill's sister and another one of our neighbors are the ones who actually rake the beach. My husband cleans from the 5 corners, from Millstone down through the dock. He cleans the roadway almost every day from the garbage, since we've had more people coming up there. Since COVID, like everywhere else, the population has increased. We have more people biking, walking, and running, and have discovered this dock, which is fine. They're local people, and this is what it's for. And We have people who now come for the day fishing. We have kayakers up there. The amount of people that come for sunset to sit and watch one of the most magnificent sunsets or to go fishing off the docks has increased immensely. So it's an area where the local people have actually gotten to use it and enjoy it. Where we have a problem is that we don't have parking up there. These houses are small. Some of us don't even have driveways. We park on the road ourselves. And so when Beaufort comes and drops off the boats and leaves the trailer there, you know, they're real cautious about where they put the trailers and try to accommodate. It comes right on the road. To have anybody else navigate through there is really a hardship. I tend to walk the dogs. I have the last walk, and I walk between 10 and 10:30 at night, and it's completely dark. Everybody is either asleep. We have somebody who leaves the house at 5:30. Another person leaves their house at 6:30 in the morning. School bus comes in. It's a true community year-round. And I keep thinking, okay, in order to avoid any liability or danger on the dock, are they going to put in lights and light up our community now and have these lights blaring into our homes so that to avoid any lawsuits in case somebody falls on the dock? These are, you know, issues that are real to us. The parking is, you know, you guys issue moorings up there. Those people leave their cars. You know, we can't accommodate any more cars up there. We're not set up for it. It truly is a residential area. And if you could really consider Conscience Point, we keep saying it because it's the one we know. And they have 2 parking lots. They have facilities. We don't have to call to have more garbage taken away. We call the highway department often to take away the garbage. Barton and Gray, from what I understand, and here's some pages from their brochure if you don't have it. They have a high membership. And, I mean, that's how it's done. It's done by membership. I found this in Fighting Chance, put out a catalog, put out a booklet thanking their donors. And there's another company out here that does charters. And it's not a membership. It's for local people or people who are out here. And anybody could get a boat out for the day or whatever it is. They launch from Long Wharf, and then whatever the marina is next to it, and then the yacht club in Sag Harbor as well as some in East Hampton. Those wharfs and docks can accommodate those kind of boats. We can't. We have the idling going on. We have people who are already playing and using the Bullhead area for recreation. I don't think we can really handle much more. And boy, am I nervous. So thank you for your time, and I hope that you consider not considering this, this particular dock for this use. Do you want a copy of those pages?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Who's next?
All right. Hello, Board of Trustees. Thank you for hearing us today. My name is Suzanne O'Connell. I reside at number 11 West Neck Circle. So I'm also a member of Bullhead Yacht Club, so I'm here in shared interest. My husband and I have resided in this neighborhood for about 4 years now. Before that, I'm born and raised on Deerfield Road in Watermill. And before that, we resided previously in North Sea. When we discovered this neighborhood and we bought this home and we moved into it, you go all the way up a dead-end road, it ends at the water, and there is a cul-de-sac. We live on the cul-de-sac. So as such, we're discussing this as a town dock and a town ramp. What really it is it's a community, it's a residence. It is a cul-de-sac that has access to the water. And that access requires residents to have a town permit in order to use the ramp. So as such, to allow a commercial operation, while I fully support Barton and Gray, I think it's a fantastic company. And I think you should be able to run a business and a company. I just don't feel that it should be out of a residential neighborhood. And as such, as is echoed by all of my neighbors here today, this is a town road. It is, 2-lane passable. We do not have width for a shoulder. Most of these residences don't even have enough property to have a driveway. So these roads are pretty backed up with local residential traffic, people kayaking, people accessing the waterways. My husband and I also, being members of Bullhead and keeping our boat there, parking is such an issue that we typically leave our cars at our home and we walk to our boat, which is a nice luxury to have. But that's, another option. So as was proposed by Barton and Gray, that it was going to be a 7-day a week between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m., 30-minute time slots for pickup and drop off. I just don't know how enforceable that is for the town to follow through. And again, it's a community of locals and neighbors that are living and working in this community, keeping working hours. I know my husband's usually up and out by 5 o'clock in the morning, so some disturbances of crowds of people coming in at 10 o'clock at night could be a disruption, as well as we don't have facilities, we don't have bathrooms, we don't have lighting, we have safety issues on top of the parking and other people coming in. So while I support, their ability to run their business and do what they need to do, we just request that it not be considered in a residential neighborhood, and we find whether it be private marinas or Conscience Point or other more appropriate locations with facilities that can support what they want to do. And with that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next? Anybody? No? Ms. Claire?
Bill Clare, 180 Big Fresh Pond Road in Southampton. I don't live down at the end of the road where everybody else does, but I keep my boat at Bullhead Yacht Club, and I am up and down the road quite often. I'm not going to go into what everybody else went into because I think they covered all the bases, but I don't think shifting it to Town Point or Conscience Point is an option either. Ed, the ramp at Conscience Point, sometimes there's 25 trailers parked in there. The town marina next door isn't under your jurisdiction. That's the town board, if I'm, right, Parks Department. Town Point is crazy. That road's narrow, just like our road is narrow. Most people park in the street in Town Point. Kids are running all around, so I don't think that that's an option. Where is an option? I think a public marina, they're already tied up with Jackson's old place. Maybe they need to look along Noyak Road for a place that has garbage, bathrooms, lighting. So that's really all I have to say. I think allowing them to come and use our facilities, which you manage, would be a mistake.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Who's next? Anybody else next? You want to give a summary? Yeah, sure. Okay, this will be the summary.
Can I make one comment? I don't know if the public is aware or you're aware, but this is the only handicap dock that allows access on a trustee property. So just being that said, and I think it's a special area down there, and I think making an area specifically parking for access for the handicap is something that this board should consider in light of what's going on here. I'm very familiar with the area. I've been a bayman and fished out of that area for decades, and that area has gotten smaller. More people live there year-round. So right now, it's a tough area for a business like you to really utilize the way you want to. I think you want to use it. But that's. I just wanted to make a statement about the handicap dock.
For sure. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, summarizing, I appreciate all the comments from the community, and it sounds like primarily the issue being parking with West Neck Boat Ramp and other locations, and as well as safety being a concern. Just to speak to those two areas, in regards to the parking, we've secured private dockage with parking within 10 miles of these locations. So our concierge service, as well as captains that manage the itineraries of these outings, absolutely can manage the different limitations that a site may have. So if we do have a situation where we require parking, we can direct them to the appropriate location. Adding these different spots is more about increasing our options and spreading us out. The comment in regards to 1,100 outings out of these locations wouldn't be possible, because if a boat is going out of another location, it can't go out of the same location twice in a day or twice at the same time. In regards to our usage, we're really not looking to run our business out of these locations. These are, for example, if a guest wanted to pick up another guest from a location that was close by, just with the geographics of the area, if we have an option to try and grab somebody from a place, we want to do our best to fulfill that and serve our member as best as possible. We like to say we're not a charter business. You're not able to charter our boats. They're not available. And we're not looking to, be deceitful in that operation, right? In our seeking this permit, we're trying to increase our visibility in regards to the safety. Our captains are all U.S. Coast Guard licensed captains. We're investing very heavily in training to make sure that they are the best on the water, as well as we are insured and we're visible. All of our boats have a burgee on the bow, the blue and gold stripes. Our captains are pretty visible, and our boat names are all documented with the Coast Guard. So, in light of visibility, we aren't looking to, be sneaky in this situation. We're trying to be visible to the community and take the appropriate steps that we need to make sure that we're operating as good partners in the area. So that would be my primary comment in regards to the parking and the safety as well.
All right, so I appreciate all, you addressing in the summary, but I've sat here and I listened to the people from this community speak on this, and, I'm a licensed captain myself, and I've run charters back in the day, but offshore fishing. After looking at these pictures and listening to this, I have concerns about this, and I just want to question you a little further.
Okay.
You have secured some parking facilities within 10 miles, you say?
Yep.
Explain, give me this, how's this working out? In other words, if you've got parking facilities within 10 miles, so why don't you get a more suitable, where we're not going into a residential community like this where we're upsetting the apple cart so much? Isn't there a better logistics that you can kind of work out for your customers and yourselves? Because this seems to be like really a stretch based on what I'm looking at, based on what I'm hearing, and based on my knowledge of being a charter captain myself back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we want to do our best to mitigate the situation internally in terms of coming up with a resolution that is path to least resistance is always going to be in our priority. In this situation, we, as been mentioned, we had a presence last summer, and that was due to member requests. So we are simply trying to fulfill an obligation to our members in terms of serving them better in our business.
Right, and I appreciate that, because I'm trying to do the exact same thing sitting here at this table right now, and these are my members.
For sure.
And I'm hearing a lot of concerns, and I'm seeing a lot of concerns, and I'm just wondering if you don't want to go to reevaluate what your strategy is here. I mean, I'm only speaking from what I'm seeing. I don't know what my fellow board members are seeing, but I'm seeing that there may be a better way to do this for you that makes more sense with all the network that you've set up, with the 10-mile radius on moving people around and whatnot, where we're not putting all this pressure in such a very small, challenged recreational area. It looks to me like it's too much.
For sure. Would that be in regards to West Neck or to all of the locations?
Just general, in general. I mean, you have to make the decisions that are right for, your business and your operation. But I think that has to be inclusive of forming relationships with suitable marinas, boat yards that are not shoehorned in situations like this. I don't see this working out myself. Yes, I guess you did do some pickups and drop-offs last year, but obviously didn't go sight unseen because we're hearing about it today in testimony.
Totally.
So, you're going to have to, I think, reevaluate. I certainly would reevaluate what your logistics are in terms of the pickups and drop-offs, because this seems to be a lot pressure on this very small area. And, I think there are suitable alternatives for you to explore where you can provide great service to all the folks that have memberships to your, company that want to go out and enjoy a professional captain on a beautiful vessel out there on the bay. But I think that can be done without creating a change to a small community or parking issues or public safety issues. I think there's a way that you can do it and still be very successful without upsetting the apple cart in any which way or form. My fellow board members are welcome to opine.
Yeah, I think you've approached a unique board. I'm elected a trustee, and I so wholeheartedly support the freeholders, taxpayers, and residents of the community. We're looking them out right in this audience right now. They've come to us with their concerns. The first and foremost is a trustee property and maintaining it for the people of the community, which I'm elected to do. This is really, to me, pushing it in a gray area where I think you should be looking for a private entity like maybe Prime Marine or another marina where you can actually make an agreement with the property owner and have lighting, insurance, safe facilities, bathrooms, and parking and garbage removal, because these are all, issues that this community has brought forward, and it's not going to be resolved by us giving you an agreement down at West Neck where it's going to create more problems for the community and in the long run create headaches for our board. So,
Yeah, I think there's a better way to do this. I think you know that. I think you can figure that out.
For sure.
Anybody else have anything more on this?
I'm just curious as to the other locations you have. Are they mostly out of marinas, or are they in private residential areas?
Most of the marinas, yeah.
Would this be the only private residential area you're looking to do business out of?
Yeah, in the Hamptons, I would say yes. This would be in regards to like the public dock or the boat ramp. You mean?
Yes.
Yes, this would be one of the only locations that we would be working with. Yeah,
and
residential.
Your clientele are, well, let me ask you this: your season is usually from Memorial Day to September, October.
October 15th. Yeah.
Okay. And most of your customers are from where?
All over the area. In the region, they're mostly locals to either, South Fork primarily, all the way down, but a lot of our members are kind of two-location residents.
You utilized the area this one particular neighborhood last summer, or last season. Did you record how many people were picked up or dropped off?
That should be recorded, yes, in our outing reports. I don't have that information on me.
All right, thank you.
I took a look at your website and noticed that you are quite a large organization. And while we welcome and encourage businesses, small or not, in small residential tight-knit communities, this just is not a good fit, especially at the end of West Neck Road. You had also requested 3 other additional areas, Conscience Point and Toad Point. As you've heard from residents of this community, those are, well, especially Toad Point is almost identical to the West Neck situation. It's a really tight community, and it's just not a good fit. Conscience Point is not under our jurisdiction. That is a Parks Department. And Corwith Park is on Mill Pond in Watermill, and that I'm not sure if you looked closely at the map when you requested that, but there are no gas-powered boats permitted, and to launch a Hinckley there would be sort of impossible, to say the least.
It's a pond.
Yeah. You're
There's no
based,
access
your
to the
boats are based at Prime Marine. We understand that you wish to accommodate your clientele, and of course, that's understandable, but in this situation, I think it's better that rather than you go to them, they come to you.
Understood.
Anything further? I don't know, I think we could close this public hearing.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So
No one else?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
These are letters for the next one coming.
you got letters for the next one? Okay, so we've got a number 3, public hearing number 3.
What he just asked.
All right.
I'll stamp
I'm
it.
gonna move on here. We got a long agenda still.
These are letters that came
Trustee
in
Pell.
while we were here for this
It's
public hearing. I just want to pass it.
I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 3, public hearing for a license agreement between the Board of Trustees and Kamadeva Yoga LLC.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I don't think any, what's this? Is anybody here?
These are letters that were sent today, and the girls brought them up, printed them out, or emails that were sent today.
Folks?
Joe, maybe you could just. So there was a request by the owner of Kamadeva Yoga, the paddleboard company, to adjourn this public hearing to our next meeting, because she is not in town.
She's not in. Okay,
But-
is there anybody here today that would like to speak? Okay, so you're able to speak. We'll, all right.
We're going to open a public
We're gonna
hearing. I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So public hearing is open. Okay, and now you can sign in and state your name
Sure.
for the record and.
You want me to give that back? No room on the back?
Do we need another sheet up there?
I could do it on the back if you want.
You could do it on
I
the
don't
back,
have
same
another
information,
sheet.
as long
Yeah,
as you
save paper.
follow the same format, that'll be fabulous.
Save a tree.
What do you need, name and address, right?
Sounds good.
That's from the last.
Email too, Lisa?
I'm sorry?
Email too?
Yeah, I believe if you have an email, you can put that there.
Okay. Hi, my name's John Arrett. Oh, good afternoon, everybody, by the way. My name's John Arrett. I live in Pine Neck area near Circle Beach, and my understanding of setting up a commercial enterprise on Circle Beach, which is very small and tiny, I'm just totally against it. It's similar to what just happened in the last hearing. It's just not practical in a residential neighborhood. There's very little parking, there's no facilities for bathrooms, there's no lifeguards. There's a lot of issues down there, actually, I don't even want to talk about now, but this one, to me, a place like Long Beach would be much better to facilitate this type of enterprise that's there. And as far as, I think they want to use kayaks or something. Hidden Cove has kayaks, and the other marina, Mill Creek Marina, has facilities to handle all of that. So I'm keeping it brief. I'm against it. I think it's a bad idea. And that's it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann. I've never spoken before, so I'm very scared.
Don't be scared.
I live in Pine Neck, also a block from...
Excuse me, if you want to sit here, if it makes you more calm, you're welcome to.
No, I'm okay. I'll be quick. Thank you.
Are you left-handed?
I'm not left-handed, of course not.
Wanna know how you're
You always
how
break
you
the
gonna sign
dominant. Yeah, I will. Like I say, it's a half a block away. It's a family area. It's empty right now because of the snowbirds. They're not back. That's why we have no one here to come. And I was wondering if I got a petition and went around when they come back to get them to sign it to show you. I don't think anyone would want it. I'm very confident in that. It's so small, the beach. There is no parking. We walk because we live half a block. There's no parking up the block, very limited parkings. I don't know where these people would even park, much less get on. And there are no lifeguards. And God forbid there is a kayak accident or something. And it's all little children, and the tide is a big factor too, which is normal. I'm not complaining about it. It's just life, nature. And I don't see any positive, but I try to help people. And I thought of Mary's Haven down in Sag Harbor. They'd be closer to town. There's parking there. There's facilities for the bathroom. There's garbage. We don't have any of that. So just a thought, thinking of safety again for the community and everyone else. It's seems like out here it's turning commercial. And we've been here since '73, and you see the changes. Not a lot of them are very positive, but that's another story. It's getting to be more like a city. But try to keep it, but progress is progress, and I'm not going to change that. So thank you for listening. And
I have a question for you.
Sure.
When does most of your neighbors come back?
Memorial Day.
Okay. Maybe we can
Snowbirds.
postpone this until,
Yeah, that would be.
Postponed anyway.
It is going to get...
It's getting postponed anyway, but.
Yes, but
That'd be great.
We're happy to take emails from the
Okay.
neighbors.
Letters.
If you, yes,
Okay.
or letters.
Emails.
We're
Okay.
happy to do.
yeah, that's better than a
We've-
petition.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I know someone who could send that out.
You probably should rest your hand.
I'm not good in social media. I'm the old-fashioned people person.
Then if you
But,
calls to them and then they say.
Absolutely, I would do that. Thank you. That's a great idea. Now I don't have to walk around and wait for them to come home. But like I say, with the holiday that we just had, I don't know how many people even saw the thing on the email that this came up, that someone wants to do this. I don't think they're even aware of that yet, but I don't know that to be true. My email's the same as his. I don't do social media.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you. Thank you for your service, all you did for us.
Next.
Yeah, that's it, tiny.
Good afternoon, trustees. Thank you for allowing this hearing. My name is Elena Loretto. I'm president of the Noyak Civic Council. For those of you who are not familiar with the Noyak Civic Council, we are a New York State registered charitable organization. We have 500-plus members, and our charter says that we are concerned with quality of life issues, hence, that's why I'm here. This question recently prompted many members to contact me via email, just today, for example. That's why I'm here to speak, to present their views. The question of this licensing agreement, we wonder, is it prudent to allow a commercial business to operate in a public property, such as this little tiny beach? It's roughly a block long. You can go around slightly, I think that's west, go down into the channel. But as John had said, there's no parking there, you know. There's no trash collection. There's no parking. People walk generally to that little tiny beach. So do you really want to allow a commercial establishment to establish a business there. And, you know, you have to understand, I love kayaking. I have a kayak. I love my little sunfish. I go out. I'm, you know, a mariner. I'm Christopher Columbus all over the world on that little sunfish. And I really enjoy the water. I'm a lifeguard. And I'm a water bug, so I enjoy it so much. But do you want that there in this little tiny residential neighborhood? And allowing a business to operate from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. may not be in the best interest of the public. This beach is enjoyed by families, older, younger. Some have very young children. You don't want campers learning to use paddle boards and kayaks in an area where you have young children, you know, hanging out in the water with their grandparents, parents, whatever. I see what people do when they rent a kayak. Okay, I live on the water. I see the catastrophes that could happen. Kayakers think, oh, I'm on a kayak. A boater will let me go by. They don't realize a boater doesn't have a brake on his boat. And they cut right in front of them 9 times out of 10. And my husband and I sit there, clench our teeth, and say, oh my God, that was so close. People really don't know. I hate to say they're ignorant. Imagine a camp operating like this. It's just not safe. You have to understand that larger areas, as my friends had said, perhaps Long Beach would be more appropriate for this kind of commercial operation. At Long Beach, you know, they have bathrooms. Good idea. Okay, they have trash bins. Second good idea. They have lifeguards, just in case of something. So why put this in an area where they don't have those services? Doesn't make sense to me. Allowing this kind of commercial business in a residential area will have a negative impact on the quality of life of those who use this beach. Okay, it's inappropriate, and you have to question, are there other places that it's more suitable? Absolutely. Another item to consider is, without there being any bathroom situation there, we've always been concerned with the water quality at Circle Beach. Having campers there for a long stretch of the day without a bathroom facility is certainly going to impact the water quality. So we really have to ask you, and these are comments that neighbors had sent, an area where there's no parking, no bathroom facilities, things like that, perhaps there's a better area for this business to be established. I'm encouraging you, and I guess you've already answered my question, to continue this hearing on May 2nd. I want to thank you very much for your time and consideration. And I know many of you have been there, but if you want a little personal tour of Circle Beach, contact me, Ann, or Marianne and John. We'll take you for a little tour. And if you come, let's see, this coming weekend should be better. You might see several brand new kayakers venture out into the high seas with kayaks as they crisscross in front of motorboats. Very exciting weekend, okay? Get your cell phone ready to dial 911, okay? But really, come on out and take a look at the beach, and we'll give you a little tour. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. James, I have a quick question for you. Are there any plovers or terns in this area that, with the possible expanded use of it, could interfere with the nesting?
There hasn't been recently, no. We haven't had plovers there in like 5 years.
All right.
Okay, so,
Excuse me for saying this, then why is that area along the channel roped off? I'm sorry. Oh, right. You want me to go there?
if you want to say something, you got to go there. You can't speak from there. You got to speak from there, though. You can't speak from there. That's a no-no.
Elena Loretto, 44 Harry's Lane, Sag Harbor. I have a question, though. Then why is that stretch when you come down along the channel? You're out in the bay. There's there's Circle Beach. If you go down to your left, how come last year that was roped off if there were no piping plovers?
It wasn't. It shouldn't have been.
It was. I live right across from there. I see it.
Was there plants there or something?
There might have been sea beach amaranth there.
Might have been a plant, protected plants, you know.
We haven't, to my knowledge, we haven't put up fencing. I mean, yeah, in the last 4
Do
years.
we do that area, or does,
No, we do it.
We do it.
But it could have been, sometimes there was some areas out there where
We
there
did
was-
have,
There has
prior to that, we did have,
That's
we
why.
had birds out.
Right,
That's
right,
why I'm
we
asking.
know. I mean, we see the dogs go
Piping
running
plovers
underneath
now.
the fence, they ignore the plovers.
Right.
The plovers ignore the dogs.
Just call the office next time, you know, and then we could check. There's none
Okay.
there now, right? It's not
We
there.
monitor
No, nothing
it,
there,
so-
no,
Right, so-
nothing, nothing.
Yeah.
So just if you see something go up, call the office and we'll check and make sure
Okay.
it's, okay?
I appreciate that, thank you, bye.
thank you.
You gonna go back? You want 2 bites of that apple?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for holding it.
We haven't even got the public portion yet.
My name is John Arrett again. On that small beach, as you look at it, they have permission for trucks to drive on that area. And I've seen the way they've torn up grass, and it's a mess. And I don't understand why, on such a small area, that it's necessary. It's not like going access to go surf fishing on the ocean, but it's been destroying all of the grass in that area. I walk there, and they break the rules. I don't think they're supposed to be there at certain hours, but there's nobody there to
Well,
enforce.
what you have to do in that point in time is make a phone call. You gotta dial 911. First of all, they're not supposed to be in the grass. And if they're there at times at which they're not supposed to be there, you need to dial 911 and they'll dispatch somebody to go take a look at this. But
Okay, yeah, but by the time that happens, they're all,
that's what you need to do. You need to do that when things are happening.
they used to have a chain across it during certain hours that they wouldn't use it.
Yeah, you have to make a call, because people are doing things that they shouldn't be doing
Yeah.
all day, every day.
The same as, I love dogs, but there's nobody there to enforce the rules of the dogs running all over the beach either.
Right,
but-
you have to make a call.
I know, make the call.
You gotta
Thank
make
you
a
very
call.
much, and I'm sorry to keep you guys.
It's all right.
Frustrating.
Okay, so let's, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this till May 2nd as well. That's
Second.
requested. So, seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to public portion. Is anybody here from the public that, you want to get back up? No, come on, get back up there, you're doing good. Anybody else? Okay, nobody wants to address this in public portion. Okay, let's move off to the, yeah, no, we're not afraid. I don't think they're afraid. Let's go back to application for permits. Thanks for coming down, folks.
Thank you.
All right, I've got trustee resolution 2022-107. This is application of Andrew J. Perel, 147 Dune Road, Suffolk County Tax Map 902-16-1-1.2. This was an application, a dredging application that we extensively worked on. I think it's ready for approval.
I'll second it, Scott.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
I have trustee resolution 2022-117. It's the application of George W. Carmani, 12 Shinnecock Road, Suffolk County Tax Map 902-10-2-7.1. Again, an application that we worked on extensively at work session. I believe it's ready to be approved at this point.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
I have trustee resolution 2022-118. It's 27 Marlin Road in East Quogue, New York. Tax map 900-384-3-14. Another application that we worked on extensively at work session, meets Blue Book regulations.
Second it.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2022-119, I would like to table, this for the next meeting.
Okay, I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2022-120. Application of the Town of Southampton, Lake Agawam Village of Southampton. Body water is Agawam Lake.
I'll second it, Billy, for you.
Thank you.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2022-121. Application is Michael DeStefano, 36 Fort Lane, Shinnecock Hills, New York. Tax map 900-211-04-57. Body of water is 04 Pond.
I'll second it, Billy, but can you go back to the previous one? I see there's it's a new application fee of $500 will be waived.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I want to make the public aware that we're working
I
with
was just
that.
thinking that after I turned the page, I should have
Okay.
said that. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, we're chipping in there.
Yes, that's, help keep the lake cleaner.
Yep. Trustee Resolution 2022-103.
Did you do this one?
Did you do that one?
I don't think so.
Did you do 121?
Yes, I just did that one.
All right.
Did you get through it? Because I know we circled
I
back.
think he seconded it, but I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
he
he
voted.
did.
We did we vote? We all in
No.
favor?
All right.
All right.
Okay, so
Aye.
we're all in favor on 2022-121?
Yep. We're good. Thank you.
Okay.
Aye. 2022-103, application for 7 Bayberry Lane LLC, 7 Bayberry Cove Lane, Shinnecock Hills. I'd like to adjourn this until the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
2022-122, applications for Bradley Fishing Station LLC, 43 Canoe Place Road, Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900, 266-4-9, body of water Shinnecock Bay East.
Second.
Okay,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2022-123, application for Florence Goldsmith, 5 Windermere Close, Hampton Bays, New York, Suffolk County, tap 900-322-4-1.3, body of water Shinnecock Bay West.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Next is trustee resolution 2022-124. This is the application of Teresa Matone, 34 South Bay Avenue, Eastport, New York, Suffolk County map 900-365-1-15.2. Body of water, East River off of Seatuck Cove.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is a trustee resolution 2022-125, application of Suffolk County, 215 Long Neck Boulevard, Flanders, New York, Suffolk County tax map number 900-123-5-10, body of water, Reeves Bay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next is trustee resolution 2022-112. This was the Ford F-150 that we thought we were going to get, but I believe it got sold out from underneath us, so I would like to make a motion to withdraw this
Second
resolution.
that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to try that again.
Trustee Resolution 2022-126. This is for Purchasing. Authorized to purchase 6.
We need to, wait 1 sec, because we need to add a couple people to this that were discussed at the work session this morning, whose permits will not be revoked.
I think, no, we're on the one above it.
One above it.
Sorry.
We're on the one above it.
Oh, sorry.
We're on 126.
Cool. Okay.
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, I'll start all over. That's right. 2022-126. Authorized to purchase 6 8-inch, 25-foot piles. These are fiberglass piles from Pearson,
Pearson Piling.
Pearson piles, for a total of $6,500.
So these are,
Not to exceed $6,500.
so these are for the slips at Willie Pond?
2 are from Willie's Pond, then 2 are in Ed's area, and then we have 2 for backup.
And
Yep.
these are in process of replacing
Wooden
the
piles.
tropical hardwood that have been greatly depleted in the tropical forest. So we're doing our part in trying to figure out a new product that will work good in our environment around here.
Yes.
So we're gonna have a couple of them
Yes,
kind of
yeah.
in stock, because with the shipping, I think there was like a flat charge.
It was
Yeah.
for one piling or 6, it's
So it made sense.
$1,600 shipping.
Because we're gonna use them. We're gonna use them.
And
So
plus, these are light enough where we can handling with the barge we
Right.
have now until we
Right.
get a bigger barge.
All right, so we'll see how these work out.
Yeah, if
Yep.
they don't work out, we don't buy any more.
I'll second it,
So
Billy.
seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now,
Okay, you
here's
want to
where
add some stuff on here?
I have to interrupt. So we need to
You have to amend this.
amend
Recall and amend?
this, and we have to add Shane Carter, permit number 46, and Joseph Kirby, permit number 164, to the waterfowl hunting locations that will not be taken away.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to add those two. So I would like to make a motion to add to the list of 5, number 6, Shane Carter,
Yep.
number 46, and number 7, Joseph Kirby, 164. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So now on the underlying resolution, trustee resolution 2022-127, inclusive of 7 permits, following waterfowl hunting location permits were approved for the hunting season, showing good cause for each of the above, the Board of Trustees have decided not to revoke the waterfowl hunting location permits for those 7.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so let's just make sure we record that properly.
Yes, we just,
We're gonna have to walk on the warrant, because I don't know why it didn't.
So I would like to make a motion to walk on the warrant,
second.
seconded by trustee Pell, all in favor?
Can you go over the breakdown of it, being that it's
Yes.
quite a large bill?
Yes.
And I have any of the bills you need, any questions?
Okay, I do have a question on one of them. What's the language for the warrant?
I can find it for you. I can pull up an old one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know why it didn't go on. I did it. I just don't know why it didn't.
What language would you like?
Happy to
I
walk.
think we're paying the town of Southampton too much.
Yeah.
It's going up,
We need,
Scott.
we need a
Well,
number.
debt service,
It's going up every year.
yeah.
These are our
Hold on
people.
1 minute.
These are the people that
What's
we are
the
paying.
last number?
I got it.
So it'd be 2022-128. Warrant to pay these checks, to pay these bills. A total of $113,366.39. Dime Bank, $3,990.60. I presume that's a credit card?
That's the credit card. That is basically marine maintenance. They use Shinnecock Hardware. They go to
Home Depot, there's a whole bunch.
Bosler and Sweezy.
Yeah.
They use the credit card.
There's a lot of them, and we actually raised the amount because everything is so more expensive
Okay.
than it was.
Thank you. Balsey and Sweesley, $130. Law Office of Con and Con,
I
$16,490.
have a question. Can you give us the running balance for the year
For Con and Con?
for Con and Con? Yes.
Yes.
I have, I mean, maybe you have it as well, but I have a March 29th invoice that was passed to me, if you want me to read it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
looking for,
I think we were supposed to,
I would like to know what we've paid them so far this
yeah, can
year.
you read that out, please?
I don't have that, but I have this. From Law Offices of Con and Con, we enclose herewith our latest invoice for services in the Stroud versus West Hampton Dunes matter. The total amount due at this time is $16,490, which represents current and new charges of $8,058 plus the unpaid balance of our March 2nd, 2022 invoice in the amount of $8,432. Thank you, Dan Con.
Thanks, Ann. Lisa, we did not pay them before?
Dan Kahn and I have had a long discussion on how he sends his bills. He sends them through the mail, he sends them in an email, and he also faxes them over. I missed one, because I thought I had paid it because it was almost the same amount.
Okay.
So he had put this amount and that amount, and I thought I had paid it. I talked to him and I said, normally, every month he's getting paid.
So maybe we should.
It was 8,000 and
Yeah.
8,000.
Maybe we
that's
should
what-
have the board direct that he should only send the
We already
bills.
did. He's
Send
only
one
gonna
right.
send me one email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that
W
is-
and W Granger, $686.70.
That is cold patch for marine
Okay.
maintenance
Yes.
to fix the roads.
So that,
That's road.
that should go out of
Yeah, the road.
restricted road. Yeah, that should be part of a
Yeah, on
different.
the, when we do the P card, each gets a different GL.
So I just want to make sure that that GL for that
It's the road.
comes out of the restricted
Trust,
road.
right, you want it out of the restricted?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That should be the road
I'll let-
account.
I'll let Lisa Trentini know.
Okay.
Joseph Oliver, $2,500. That's a law service. Joe? Yes. That's you. That's me. Mobile D. Bureau.
Okay, that was the furniture?
For $4,602.12.
That was just his new desk.
Okay. Wow.
Just get the deluxe with the
Yeah.
power windows and everything.
New York Precision Equipment, $1,750.
New GPS.
Okay. Ricky's Plumbing and Supply, $239.51.
The bathroom for the marine maintenance guys, they redid it.
Okay.
A lot of that was for that.
Town of Southampton, $82,797.00. That's way too much.
That's your quarterly.
Scott, you want to explain why we're
Well,
paying
there's
that?
a quarterly payments because the trustees back in the day made agreements, their resolutions, which I think what we should do is we'll recall those resolutions and we'll let all the trustees review so that they have an understanding.
People.
But there were cost share resolutions passed back in the day for employees to pay employees. There was also a recent one, if you recall, with the inability to get staffing at the end of last year. We also agreed to raise some of our employees up that are part-time employees to the highest amount available under the contract so that we could attract people to work for us. So that created like another $20,000, which would break down to another $5,000 on a quarterly basis, with the stipulation that when the town realized that they had to pay more people for these positions to attract them, that cost share would be evaporated.
Yeah.
Once they got, but we needed to get people to provide services. In addition, the trustees are paying debt service on about $1 million worth of bonds so that we could fix things like the Bay Avenue Pier, like the Baycrest Pier, and you know, other facilities that
Bay
we
Avenue
have.
Dock and Eastport.
Right, exactly. So, you know, we're paying debt service and we're paying for cost share. We're paying services of the comptroller as well and some other things, so that what they do is they bill us on a quarterly basis, and it comes out of our enterprise revenue from our permit fees and goes back to the town of Southampton to offset the general fund. But what I think would be helpful, we got trustee Parrish is new. I think what we'll do is recall those resolutions from prior days so that you could have a better understanding. And it's also a good exercise, especially now that.
For the public,
For the public and for now that we're moving forward
for the tax line.
with the tax line and the trustees having their own tax district, to have a good understanding even for the town board members that were not on the board at the time those resolutions were passed, to see the relationship, that there's a substantial amount of money that comes from the trust, from the trust properties and the trust enterprise revenue, and goes back to the town taxpayers' general fund for services that everybody in the public enjoys.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
WB Mason and Company, $171.46, a total of $113,366.39.
I'll second that. Billy.
Seconded by trustee
Thank you.
Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that concludes the agenda for today. Do any of the trustees, I know it's been a long day, we missed lunch, and Bill did not bring us
we
back
had
a
lunch.
pizza. We did?
Carrots.
I didn't have any carrots. Bill did not bring us back any pizza from when he
But I
recused
did-
himself.
But I did watch you guys on TV.
Yeah, but he didn't bring us pizza.
It's Easter,
Pizza
we're
next
rabbits.
door.
Does anybody else have anything that you want to go over? We had executive session already. I don't know if we need another executive session, but,
We have to be in court,
well, that's to be determined.
that's to be determined still?
It's still to be determined.
That's for Friday?
Yeah, that's to be,
Stands now, it's Friday. I kept it open, just in case.
Friday, 29th.
I did not keep it open. I have prior engagement, and I've made that known. So,
22nd.
you know, I don't think we should get into that discussion here.
No.
Did we
No,
close
just
the
not-
curious.
meeting?
It's not a
yet.
discussion. No, we have not.
Let's close our.
We have not. I'm asking if there's anything else, and, because you're usually one more thing. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity for one
No,
more thing.
Scott, let's-
Yeah.
All right, is that one more thing, a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so who made the official motion?
I think you did.
Did I?
I second.
Okay, seconded by Trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for your game.
I don't understand why it didn't go on.
Don't worry, we took care of it.
Hold it. Aren't we?